like a piece of gold. I've been bought and I've been sold, feeling not so special now.
Welcome back, you guys. Danny on everything, the correct November episode. My name is Danny Bedrosian, coming to you as always from the Alcom building, beautiful Moose Magnificat Radio here in Tallahassee, Florida. With me as always is my producer Carl Cerny. So glad to be back with you guys. Looking forward to more great content in the months ahead. It's been great getting back into consistent shows again, consistent podcasts with you guys. And I remind you to like, follow, and subscribe. Hit the bell. It'll let you know when new videos are available to be watched, like this one, the brand new episode. So thanks again, you guys, for tuning in. Tell your friends to subscribe. We get new subscribers every time we have a new episode. I'm really happy to say, and we're hoping to keep growing. So spread the news to all your friends if you like the kind of content that is on this show. As always, I gotta give shout outs to my product. I got product out, new stuff out. The newest album, Garmir Caramel, right here. Third newest album, Lucine and Arev, my classical R&B fusion album. You can still pick this up. The Garmir Caramel goes for 20 domestic or 35 international, and Lucine and Arev is 20 domestic or 35 international. You can still get these, but they are limited quantity, so you want to get them very soon, especially the newest one, as it's going fast. And of course, speaking of going fast, there are only about 5 copies of these left in the wild for you to order. Sons of the Sun, the new comic book, something I worked on with Mr. Steve Grezik. This is issue number 2, but you don't have to have issue number 1 to understand issue number 2. It is a self-contained issue, as we talked about before. You can get this for 25 domestic or 40 international through my PayPal or Venmo or Cash App. PayPal is info@DannyBedrosian.com. Cash App is $Daniel Bedrosian, and Venmo is @Daniel Bedrosian. And if you want the digital version of issue number 1, we still have digital versions available for $15. Just send your email so we can send you the digital version of issue number 1. Issue number 2, physical version, first printing, only about 5 or 6 left, so you want to get it soon. Second printing is coming out very soon for a reduced rate, but it does not look as good as the first printing by a long shot. So check this out while you still can. We're working on number 3 right now. Steve Grezik and the artist who did issue number 1, Robert Iman, they're working together actually with me on this one. It's by far my best script I've ever written. And I have Steve Grezik doing the layouts, the pencils, and inks, and Robert Iman doing the lettering and the coloring. So it's going to be fantastic. Really looking forward to it. We've got an amazing interview today with Mr. Ricky Tan from the P-Funk, engineer extraordinaire, working both in the studio and live. But before we even get to that, speaking of live and speaking of Garmir Caramel, we have a special exclusive today, the title track, Garmir Caramel, from the Garmir Caramel album I did with the brothers Nalbandian, but performed live from exclusive video at the Over Under in Tallahassee, Florida. Our debut show with the new reconstituted Som'n Fierce band, featuring myself on keys and vocals, Mr. Bakari Hines on drums, Mr. Brad Fouch on guitar, and Mr. Jose Serrano on the bass. It's Garmir Caramel live, extended version from the Over Under in Tallahassee. Check it out right now. You are watching, listening to, experiencing Danny on everything.
People told me you better watch out for that one. They said the Garmir is in her soul. She's got a lot of love all to give, and I know I can do it right. Oh, Garmir, much love to give, and I know that I can do. Garmir Caramel, you're so exciting to me. Garmir Caramel, you're so exciting to me. Ooh, baby, your love is so exciting, yeah. You got everything that I adore. Make me think that all the other boys are defeated. Because when you were with them, you just wanted more. Baby, now you got me. 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 Garmir Caramel, you are so exciting to me. Garmir Caramel, you are so exciting to me. Break it down. Garmir Caramel, you are so exciting to me. Garmir Caramel, you are so exciting to me. Thank you, guys. That's the title track for my new album, Garmir Caramel. If you guys like what you hear, pick it up. Support musicians. Tip your bartenders. Also, just a reminder, you can order your drinks from the bar directly. And make sure you tip them. And we got a little tip thing here. If you, my daughter was just born 3 days ago, so if you want to support 3 daughters. We're going to do some more from this new album. Bakari Hines on the drums, give it up. Brad Fouch on the guitar, give it up. Jose Serrano on the bass, give it up. My name is Daniel Bedrosian. I hope you guys enjoy it. We're doing some more.
We are back live extended. I told you. An extended version, live, exclusive, first time heard right here, unless you were at the show, of Garmir Caramel with the new Som'n Fierce band at the Over Under. And my friend, my confidant, co-worker, brother, who actually came and supported me and was there, is also here so that I can support him and help tell more people about his greatness, Mr. Ricky Tan. Ricky, thanks for coming.
No problem, man. You my brother, man. I'm always here to support you, man.
That's what's up. I really appreciate that. So let's get right into it. So Ricky Tan, just to give a little background to people not versed, and I know a lot of P-Funk fans will find this interview interesting. You know, Ricky Tan is an engineer who's worked in the studio for George Clinton and the P-Funk for the last several years, and helped engineering chores and engineering duties on Shake the Gate by Funkadelic in 2014 and Medicaid Fraud Dog in 2018 by Parliament, the two returning albums of the great bands Parliament and Funkadelic of George Clinton's namesake. And he's also an important integral part of the upcoming P-Funk All-Stars releases and solo releases from some of the band members as well as George himself. But before we get into all that, Ricky, why don't you tell our viewers where you come from, what your roots are?
Right. I'm from Detroit, Michigan, man. I moved to Tallahassee when I was about 15 years old. And but coming from Detroit, man, I had a gospel background. I came up playing my whole life. I'm like a prodigy of music. My mom bought me a drum set when I was like 1. And I played in church at 2. Like, they helped my back. And I played, like, the pastor loved me. He was, I want him to do it. I want Demetrius to do it. And I played all the way till I was about 13. And I moved here when I was about 14 to 15, like I said. And
so it was like quite a while in Detroit before you moved to Tallahassee. I didn't realize you were there that long.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was there till about 14 or 15.
Okay. And did you do any, so you did music in the church?
Yes, sir.
Did you find yourself doing any, there's so many studios in Detroit. Were you involved or did you know about the studios, I should say? Were you like aware of them living in Detroit?
I was definitely aware. I was a young man, so
sure.
I came up playing definitely all church gigs, but at 8 or 9, I had, other musicians who played keys in church. They'll be like, hey, they'll come to my mama's house, knock on the door. I need him. So I started doing a whole bunch of other gigs.
Right.
All around, just anywhere they needed some drums. And it was a guy named Chip in Detroit. He played keys. And Chip took me everywhere, you know what I mean, playing all different churches and festivals. And I played, well, more than Chip, though, but I was a young man, though.
Yeah, sure,
7, 8, 9.
Yeah, young, super
10,
young. Yeah.
playing, real solid gigs, getting paid.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Also, speaking of Detroit, a lot of people, the P-Funk fans, of course, know Michael Clip Payne and know about his Detroit roots.
Right.
And you have somewhat of a connection to Clip. Clip's family knew you.
Yeah, I went to school with his sister.
Way before you were involved in this.
Yeah, way before.
It's a small world.
Couple people in P-Funk I met prior to meeting them, and when I got older in life, I met him when I was young. Yeah, Clip Payne, I remember his mother and his sister. We went to Nolan Middle School in Detroit, and a lot of P-Funk cats from right there in the neighborhood I grew up in, Detroit.
Right.
And they was there originally. I'm from 7 Mile and Russell, but all the way to State Fair. And on State Fair, that's where everybody was at. Clip, who else around there? My man
Amp Fiddler.
Yep. And what's Unc on the guitar?
Andre
Fox, from around there. Steve Boyd
was from there. Yeah, Paul Hill.
Yeah. Paul Hill. Everybody from that little corner. So yeah, that's why I grew up at right there. Detroit, 7 Mile, all the way to State Fair. Russell, Hannah, Hull, Hawthorne.
Nice. Nice.
Cardone.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when you moved to Tallahassee, you must have been, what was that, were you a freshman or sophomore?
Oh, yeah,
school?
Yeah. When I moved to Tallahassee, I was about 9th grade.
9th grade, okay. So did you find yourself, at that time in the South, there were new kind of revolutions in hip-hop happening, Southern hip hop was gaining a foothold in terms of not just being one or two guys that were big that everybody knew, but now suddenly there was a whole crop of young, talented artists coming out of the Southern hip hop thing around the time that you were that age.
Right. When I came, I know exactly. Yeah, it was a transition from me going to that up top or Midwest,
Sure.
kind of deal to the Southern thing. Excuse me. I had a lot of influence from here. I love coming down south. It was a trip to learn they stilo and how they do their drums and I got right into it. I moved here in Tallahassee, so T-Pain was here.
Right.
When I was real young, he ran into me. He was like, "God damn, you talented." I used to rap, and T-Pain always used to say, "Man, you gonna make it. You gonna make it doing something, man. You talented." And he used to do that because I used to rap against him all the time. Every time I seen him, I would, spit bars against him. You know what I mean? Cause like he battled with me years ago. I was like 15, and he knocked on my mama door with this guy, T-Pain. And he was like, had me on flat broke television. Like, they had like a little, and then that's how I started the little, me and him rapping back and forth together. But every time I saw him, he always pulled me to the side and said, "Hey man, I really dig your talent, man. I like your energy, and I think you going places. Definitely. You ain't from around here, I can tell." And you know what I mean? And I always, when he went on to stardom, I was like, I can do this, definitely. Coming from nothing, and I didn't meet Mr. Clinton yet, so I was just coming from a, musician playing drums and keys in church too. Mm-hmm. And meeting T-Pain down here in Tallahassee, and he was like, you gonna make it. Then he went on and made it, so I was like, oh shit, it's on.
Right.
And it really inspired me a lot when he went on to stardom, right from being right with him, and he knocking on my mama door and all that, rapping. Mm-hmm. And then moving on and meeting Mr. Clinton and working with Mr. Clinton and the P-Funk clan, it was just, I love moving from up the Midwest to down south. It was a cool transition.
Well, speaking of transitions, let's get to that transition now. What when you started working for George, what was the impetus for that? How did it happen, and what were you doing when you first started working for George, and how did that all transpire?
When I came over, I was with a buddy named Calico. He just called me for the interview started. Yeah, his name Young Calico. He took me. He stayed at my house one night, and then we woke up early because we went to the club. So he was like, "I'm gonna stay" because he was drinking. And then he was like, "Man, let's." Lil Steve called him. Lil Steve, Young Funk. Steve Boyd's son.
Yeah, Steve Boyd's son.
He called him and he was like, "Man, come through. I got some beats." And Calico was a real hot rapper, so I was like, "Shit." He was like, "Come on, Tan. I got something for you." So he was like, "Get up." I was like, "What it is? What it is?" It was like 7 a.m. too. Random. Steve called him. And then he was like, "Man, it's these cats." He was like, "You ever heard of George Clinton?" I was like, "Yeah, I heard of George Clinton, man." He was like, "You know he live here?" I was like, "I ain't know he live here." He was like, "Yeah, man." And then the whole ride over there, he was like, "Man, they gonna love you, man." I was like, "For real?" He was like, "Yeah, you from Detroit and you got all them world-renowned kind of beats." I was at my mama's house going in with my mom, because my mom a musician. She played organ.
Cool.
And,
oh, nice.
Yeah, Shirley Caesar. She played with a lot of people, gospel background.
Yeah, sure.
And that's why she kept me in the church. But Calico was like, "They're going to love you with all these, you got like a funk in you. You from Detroit." And,
I feel you.
And I was doing tracks, and he was like, "These ain't no motherfucking regular tracks here you doing."
Okay.
Like, it had instrumentation and live drums and just a good feel to him. He was like, "They're going to like you." So I got over there, and then I seen Steve. I was like, "Oh, shit. I know Steve. I remember him from years ago in Detroit."
Okay.
So we got to talking about that. He was like, "Oh, yeah, you from around Cardonia," like I was saying.
Yeah. That's
Steve Boyd's son. He was over there. I remember him.
Right.
And from when I was about 10 or 11, but and then he was like, "Yeah, man." And then I met Trezay Lewis Clinton. He was there. I remember I walked through the studio, me and Calico, because we went straight in the basement at first. And this was about 2010.
Okay.
And we went down there, and Calico was rapping to some of Steve beats. And then Steve was like, "Let's go upstairs and holler at my cousin." So we went up there, and it was he was laying on a chair with the thing. I remember it was him and Peanut. It was my first time. It was Peanut and Trezay Lewis Clinton. He was laying there, And then we kind of started him. He woke up. It was my first time. I was like, hey, what's going on, blood? And then I met him. He was so young, and he had a great, beautiful spirit. So I was like, oh, man, it's something about it. And I never seen the big studio ever.
Yeah.
It was kind of like an art gallery. So we'd walk past. I never seen that for like 6 months. I didn't even know it existed. So I was into this cat, Trezay Lewis Clinton. I was like, damn, man. His energy was so down. I never met anybody like him ever. So he came down, and then he plugged. I was like, oh, shit. He can make that music so good. I was like, oh, man, him and Steve good, too.
Sure.
But Trezay, I fell in love with his style, how he do things. And then he fell in love with me, too, because me and Calico, you know, we listen and jam, and me and Cole were like, damn, this young cat, he from Vegas. Yeah. He from L.A., but we were like, his style so different, it's crazy. He had a lot of records. And then we was finna leave, and then Trezay was like, damn, brussy, you know, don't leave. I was like, oh, man, I got to go. My mother was handicapped. I was like, I gotta go take care of my mother, man. Yeah, he was like, damn, come back. We had hit it all. He was like, yeah, man, your energy and everything was good. So I came back. I went home, checked on mom. I cooked my mom some dinner. But when I did that, I cooked him some dinner, and it was another cat I met. His name was Peanut, Robert Johnson. Yeah, and I cooked them some dinner, some spaghetti. And I came back to the studio. I didn't have a car or nothing at this time. I'm only about like, I'm probably like 19. Yeah. And then I'm probably like 20. But then I caught a ride back to the studio. I had a big ass thing of spaghetti. Yeah. So I was like, oh, they didn't hear me at the door. I'm knocking. Because I got dropped off because my man was like, come back and get at me, man. Okay. And so I was like, I'm going to go back over there and holler. And I came back with some spaghetti. And when I came in, I was like, man, I got this for y'all. Y'all got a kitchen. Then it was kind of, you know, it wasn't the cleanest. Nothing was very, you know, it wasn't clean. So I got my stuff. I went, ooh, boom. I knocked the kitchen down, hit the refrigerator. Because, you know, my mom raised me like that. And, sure. And I was taking care of my mom. So this is what I'm doing, stuff like this all the time. And, you know, your mom, get in there, daddy, and right. Get that stove.
Take care of this, clean that.
I'm just in that. So I hit all that, boom. Then I had when I gave Trezay some, and then Mr. Johnson, he was in there. I was like, hey, how you doing, sir? And then I was like, I got some spaghetti for you. It's in the kitchen. And then he walked in the kitchen, Robert Johnson, and he said, oh, shit. I was like, what's wrong, sir? You like the spaghetti? He was like, yeah, man. He said, man, you like a blessing from God. I ain't never seen nothing like this. And then I was like, what you mean, Mr. John? What's wrong? He was like, I ain't, you just cleaning up and doing, I never seen no. Okay. He was like, that's like your actions, you know, I love. He was like, man, where you from? And we got to talking, and right. He was like, I like you, man. And it's cool. And he was a big singer, and I got to talking with him and fell in love with this cat. And he was a big dude, man. And like this the first time I ever met him, he was just saying like, damn, this shit is crazy. I ain't never seen no young man do nothing like you, ever. He was like, all these, they just for themselves, and ain't nobody really, you know, caring about doing no. I ain't never seen it that clean right now. Yeah, nice. He was like, I ain't seen that motherfucking kitchen clean like that. And then you doing that out of the kindness of your heart, you done made me some spaghetti. Right. Thank you so much, man. Yeah. He was like, you gonna go far. I like that. Nice. And then I didn't know what he meant because I was just doing it. You know, I wasn't trying to go nowhere. Right. I was just coming to come back, this young kid, Trezay Lewis Clinton. He was a precious dude. I never met nobody like him. And then I ain't think about it as a big thing or trying to get on or nothing. I just was a natural cat that Calico told me that he was like, these cats remind me of you, kind of like. Okay. These cats like musicians and the way you think and private about your thing, they like that. Okay. So kind of like, we hit it off, man. Mr. Johnson ate the spaghetti, and then we all fellowship, and we all got together, and then he was like, come back, man. And Trezay didn't want me to leave. So I'm standing there with him and Steve, and just I never left, man. Actually, I had my mom was handicapped, so I had to go take care of my mom. Right. So she said, hey, baby, I need you. I was like, I got to go. So now I'm back and forth. I'm going to take care of my mama. Then I'm going to get over here and check these cats out. Mm-hmm. And I kept on, you know, grinding. I wasn't doing too much music. I did music at my mom's, but I didn't do it at George's place because it was like, you know, these cats doing their thing, and I ain't. And then I met Sadi. Sadi was there. Sadi Ali, man. Dwayne Mosby, he was a real strong cat, and he was about his business. He wasn't playing, and he got to me, and he really helped me, you know, because I didn't have a father in my life a lot, you know, and he got on me. It was like a lot of stuff I was doing that wasn't manly, or it wasn't, you know, going in a direction where a young man supposed to be. So he really got on me about everything. He was getting on everybody. He was getting on grown men. I was like, damn, this cat he tough.
Yeah.
But a lot of stuff he, you know, and time kept going, and I was just cleaning. So George Clinton met me. I met him like Trezay introduced. He came out this door. I don't know what the door. It was like the door I'm talking about is the studio.
It's the studio itself.
But they always kept it tight. I never been in there.
Right.
So one time he came out this door and he was about his business. He was always moving, and he was like, Trezay was like, grandfather, and he was like, yes, because he was, you know, he had to get his attention. He was really about. He wasn't stopping.
On this thing, yeah, yeah.
So he was like, grandfather, I would like you to meet. I would like you to meet Ricky Tan. He was like, who? He was like, Ricky Tan, man. This him right there. He looked up at me. And then he was like, George said, that's who been making this place look like this?
Okay.
And then he was like, yes, that's him, grandfather. He was like, he walked over, he grabbed me. He was like, you got a job? I was like, no, sir. And then he was like, if you keep doing that, I'm going to pay you. I'm going to pay you. He was like, do that. Come in and do that. I like that. I love what you're doing with my art things, because I came in, I was like, fuck it. I seen the musicians playing, and I'm a musician, but I didn't step on their toe. I seen it was like a bigger thing, so I naturally just was like, let me just clean and help these cats. So I just started cleaning. That was my talent. Like, I play the drum, but I play the drums cleaning.
Yeah.
I clean that motherfucker so good that Mr. Clean, he was like, God damn. He was like, who the hell? Ricky Tan, then he was like, damn, that motherfucker, that bad. Like, it's all pine sol and all that shit up. Niggas don't stink. And it smelled like spaghetti in this motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yikes.
So, I kept on just doing that. Then Mr. Ron Dunbar came in town, and he opened up this closet. I ain't never seen this closet. I thought it was a closet. Because I used to clean all around that motherfucker every day. I had it on. I had the flows so tight. And, I'm on my cleaning shit.
Right.
So Ron Dunbar opened up this closet. He was like, hey, how you doing, young man? And then I was like, hey, Mr. Dunbar, so I'm coming through. I'm really trying to see what's going on in the closet. I'm mopping hard as hell.
Right.
I'm mopping back and forth. And then Ron Dunbar was like, hey, young man, why don't you put that mop down? I was like, Mr. Dunbar, what? Yeah, he was like, come here in this office. So I came and I sat down and I started talking to Ron. So first thing he said, where you from? And then I said, who is your daddy? He know my daddy. Alex Burton, your daddy. So I'm like, yes, sir. I'm like, damn, how you know my daddy? Because my daddy is like a year older than George. My daddy is like 81. And Ron was about 82. So he was like, man, we from Detroit. When you that old, you know each other.
Sure.
You know? So me and Ron got to talking, and he was like, damn, you from Detroit? I know you don't play no music or nothing. I was like, yeah, I play. And then Ron was like, well, let me hear something. And then I was like, well, shit, sure, sir. And then he was like, come on. And then he was like, y'all. He was calling people because he was an older cat.
Yeah.
But he was like, let me in this room here.
Yeah.
So he was the first person who took me in that studio.
Okay, interesting.
Ron W, I never saw. I was like, oh, damn. This shit cold as hell.
Right.
Because the dude, Gary Wright, was running it. And he had to tell you, I love it. You couldn't, the door wasn't open.
Yeah, sure.
You couldn't get in that door.
Yeah.
At all. So when Ron took me in, I was like, oh, shit, this shit is nice. And I'm digging the atmosphere. And I didn't even know it was there. I was there for about 6 months.
Okay.
Prior. And not even seeing the studio because it was small pre-production rooms. We were in a basement. And you know what I mean? So Ron was like, crank up some of that stuff that you do. So I was like, oh, damn. I went in my email, had something in my email. So I played it. And Ron was like, you did that, man. You did this shit right here. I was like, yeah, I did this, Mr. Dunbar. He was like, God damn. He was like, man, do George know about you? I was like, well, Mr. Clinton told me that, he'll hire me cleaning. You know what I mean? So by the time I just kept coming in, and Mr. Dunbar was like, I want you to put that mop down. I'll come in and He was like, oh, hell no. You
Right.
done mopped enough.
Yeah.
He was like, plug this stuff up back here and just work on it. You know, play some of that music. So I started just grinding. Then I got Robert Johnson. He always sit in his little lazy boy chair
Yep.
in the gallery. And then Robert Johnson came in the studio with me. He was like, damn, what is that, Ricky Tan? I was like, this some new shit I done made, man. Check it out. And then, you know, I just grew up making music my whole life. So Robert Johnson was like, what is that tune? Then I just started freestyling a hook kind of. And then he was like, shit, can I sing that? And I was like, yeah, you can sing that. And then it was like, I got the record right now. It was crazy. But Peanut got to singing the hook, and I had the beat going. And then George Clinton came in. He came in the studio. So he walked in the studio, and he was in his, you know, in the A room.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, hey, Peanut. You know what I mean? And Peanut was like, I ain't going. I'm not going. I like this tone right here. So George was like, he sent the guy named Barry. First time I really seen Barry real good.
Mm-hmm.
And he came in there. He was like, hey, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Clinton wants you in the studio A, and he's ready to work. He said, tell him I'm not coming. He said, he told George I'm not coming. So George said, what is this? And George came out the studio, and he came in there, and he sat down. We was in the closet. So George told Barry to set him a chair down, and he set a chair down. And then he was like, what is this? And then Mr. Clinton wouldn't speak to me. He was like, hey, Peanut, you don't hear me calling in the studio? And then he was like, listen to this song here, George. And then he was like, who doing this? And then I'm like, hey, Mr. Sir, George fagged me down. He was like, don't say nothing. He was like, Peanut, what is this, you know? And then he was like, man, this Ricky Tan, man. He was like, he bad, he from Detroit. He got these tunes, and I like the way, what he doing. So George was like, give me that microphone. He was talking to Barry, so Barry came, and we in a tight-ass closet.
Yeah. Yep.
So Barry like, excuse me, and he pulled a mic out to George. He's sitting outside the closet. And then he was like, come on. So he was like, record. Do you know how to record? I didn't know how to record. I was like, oh, shit. But I told him, I was like, I know how to do it.
Yeah,
I know how to, I didn't know how to bust, and it was new
Right.
to me.
Yeah.
And so George recorded, and Barry was like, let me get it. Let me record him. But we was in the closet. He was out of his big office in a little closet.
Mm-hmm.
And then we was working in there. And then the next day, George came in. He came straight to the closet.
Right.
He hung his coat on the door. He was like, yeah, what you got to do today?
Yeah.
And then
Nice.
he never spoke to me, though.
Right,
He
right.
would just speak to another person. Miss Clinton didn't say nothing to me for about a year. Then, make the story faster. Then, you know, time went past gradually. And, you know, it wasn't that much time. One day I was in the closet doing my thing now. You know, I didn't have no good speaker. I had one speaker, man.
Yep.
So George came in there. He said, why the hell this man ain't got no good sound in here? So he was like, Barry, ain't no speakers. Barry was like, I got some speakers, George. And he was like, go get them for me. And then he was like, set them up in here. So he set the speakers up. Then that was my first time having some good music coming. I ain't never felt it like that.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, that shit sound, you know,
Uh-huh.
it sound good.
Yeah.
So George was like, damn. So we making something there, and George said, no. Let's go. You know, this is what George did. George, we was in the studio in the closet. George left. Then guess what he did? He sent them in there to unplug my speakers. So I was like, damn. I'm thinking I done did something wrong. It's over. I'm like, oh, shit, what the hell I done did, you know? So they left me in there. I'm just sitting there. I'm saying, damn, even Peanut gone now.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, Peanut gone. He done took my speakers. Right while I'm making the shit, too. I'm in there making, I'm thinking I'm doing good. He done unplugged my speakers. So I'm like, oh, shit. He didn't say nothing. So I was just sitting there. And then Barry came and told me, he was like, hey, man. He was so happy. And I understand because I was young.
Yeah.
He was like, guess what, man? I was like, what? He said, Mr. Clinton said he want to work with you.
Okay.
In there.
Right
now. And then I came in there and George was sitting there, him and Peanut, big ass chairs. I was like, oh Lord, these chairs was like, the back of his chair was like a movie, how you turn it, and the boss turned around. And he was just sitting there and he still wasn't speaking to me. And then I just came in and kind of, you know, I didn't know about the shit. And he was like, pull up them tunes. And Barry, that's the first time, you know, I got a good relationship with Barry. Barry told me, He was like, hey man, whatever 2 tracks you had, you showed Peanut and y'all was working on, give him. He want them up right here. So I was like, damn. And I had to go, I ain't been in the basement in a minute because I had been separate. I've been doing a different thing.
Sure.
Trying to keep it tight. So I had to go in the basement to my little dogs. I went down there with Steve and I said, Steve, man, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do what they need. So he happy. He was like, what they want you to do? I'm like, boy, you turned up. He was like, well, he ain't never been in there. I ain't never worked in there. So he was like, you breaking the door down because he was like, they don't let regular just cats in there.
Yeah, sure.
So I was like, damn. And then Steve helped me. And then we had to get with Barry, but we got all the files and put them up there and put them in Pro Tools. So, and then from there, I had just me and George. I didn't even know how to work the motherfucker.
But you started studying. You started learning how to do it. By doing, you learned how.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Right from experience, right?
Right. I mean, just the software.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
With the engineering.
Right.
Yeah, working with the Pro Tools and working
And the
with
hardware,
system.
too.
And the hardware, too. Yeah,
Right.
right. Yeah, the modules and things.
Yeah.
That's excellent. So then you went on, and a couple of years went by, and next thing you know, you got the new Funkadelic album,
Right.
2014. And then only a few years later, the new Parliament album.
Wow, yeah, that was it's on fast, man. We were just working with Mr. Clinton.
Yeah.
Under his direction, he can tell me things, and I'll go on the Pro Tools and make it how he wanted, just like this. Or, we start a lot of records. You do it
Sure.
with me, Danny.
Mm-hmm.
So me and George will sit in the studio, and I might dabble a chord or two or
Yep.
anything in that feeling, or a lot of times with drums.
Yeah, it might be
And
an
then
808,
he'll call
it could be-
Mr. Brodrosian in.
Yep.
And we'll put the top. That's how we started a lot of those records. But no, the Shake the Gate.
Sure.
That was when I came in late, kind of
Sure.
on that.
But you're on a couple of those.
Oh yeah, I'm on a couple of those records
Yep.
and mixing and some drums.
Yep. And then by the time Medicaid Fraud Dog, you were very involved in the A
Right,
in
that's
the
what I
A
was
room.
talking
We call it
about.
the A room.
The A room,
Yeah.
right.
What are some of your favorites that you were involved in from either of those or both? What are some of your favorites?
Oh, you talking about favorite records?
Yeah, same favorite songs that
I
you did from that time.
love, I love Psychotropic. I love the whole body of work. Dada was my shit.
Yeah, that was my favorite from that album.
Yeah. I went on iTunes and I found a record because he always George say, use my son. He is so good. And he say that to this day, and I love his son, and he coach.
Yep.
Trey Lube. So I went on, I typed in Trey Lube, and a song came up. I just took the song, drug it in Pro Tools, and I went on a cruiser and started from the one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got the guitar line.
Right.
And I was like, ooh, that's my fault. Boom, 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 boom,
Yep.
boom, 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 boom. So I'm looking for a clear one because it's a record.
Yeah.
But he was like, that's my son. That's my record. I can use the record. So
Right.
I'm like, oh, we in the game. I got that loop going. It
Yep.
was on.
Yep.
And George was like, ooh, Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And then George, we was talking about some shit from a lottery.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this guy won the lottery and he blew all his money or some shit.
Right.
And then Brandy walked in and then George said, and she would say, yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
On the mic, and it was over. I was just, Dada. Yeah, that was one of my favorites.
Yeah, I liked doing that. I played the keys on that, and then later Chris Dave put drums on
Oh,
it, which
yeah,
is really
Chris
cool
Dave
too.
was a
Yeah,
bad motherfucker. He played on that.
And then the Hall of Horns on there, Fred and all that. It's
Oh,
great.
that's Fred.
Yeah,
Fred
yeah.
and Pee Wee on there.
Yeah, that's a great record.
Rest in
That's
peace.
probably my favorite on that album too. In addition, you're doing stuff that hasn't come out yet that are highly anticipated.
Oh yeah. This
Um,
new Parliament,
new
P-Funk
All-Stars
Yes,
record.
sir.
And you also worked with Tanisha Nelson, who we've had on the show.
Oh yeah,
On her
totally.
Gemini Vibes album.
Yeah, I did a couple tracks, and her single "On Love" is real hot. She blew it out the park. Like, she really got me inspired. How T-Pain inspired me back in the day.
Right.
Tonisha inspiring me like that right now, cause the way she doing it is some Grammy shit, and we did it, and we just did it, and we can do it.
Yeah.
More and more. So
Yep.
she really inspired me, like, to keep going hard. You
That's
know what I mean?
great.
Yeah.
And speaking of going in hard, you got something new you'd like to you'd like to promote or anything you'd
Oh
like
yeah. Right now, man, I got this artist. I'm working with several artists.
Yeah.
You know, Ricky Tan is an artist himself, but I always like to work with an artist. You know what I mean? Like another artist. You know,
Yeah, sure.
My time is gonna come for my music, but I'm working with a young cat named Lil Goat right now.
Right.
Lil Goat, he the future, and we got a lot of new records, and I'm working with this one cat. His name Trap Sosa. So he got a new single out called Risk Taker, and I did that, and the video was out. And Tonisha Nelson just did, like I just said, we just did a record. Her video was out. A lot of people working right now. I'm working with a lot of young people, and they putting it out. It's looking good.
Right.
And everything is blessed right now.
That's beautiful. Well, Rick, thank you for coming on the show and talking to us about all of this great stuff in your career and your life. It's been super illuminating for me. Yeah. And you're welcome to come by anytime. We hope we can have you back.
Thank you for having me, man. That was beautiful, man. I love the atmosphere. I love you, man. So,
I love you too, Rick. I appreciate it.
This was great, man, for me. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. And you've been listening to, watching, enjoying, experiencing Danny on Everything. We are back, Danny on Everything. Thank you guys for checking us out again. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe if you like this content, and hit the bell so that you can find out when new episodes are available. I wanted to let you guys know shows that are coming up. George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic, December 18th, 2021. Probably our last show of the year. Big festival in Los Angeles. Just about everybody is going to be there. All of the West Coast hip-hop, all of the big G-Funk groups, all of the big funk bands from the 70s, all of the big R&B singing groups from the 60s and 70s, from the Stylistics to Warren G, and many, many more. We're playing that on December 18th. I got a bunch of Chop House shows at the Chop House on the Bricks in Thomasville, Georgia. If you're interested in my classical piano, I will be there November 19th and 20th, December 10th and 11th, January 14th and 15th, that's next year, and January 28th and 29th. Additionally, I will be at the Over Under doing my solo piano thing on December 4th, and I will also be at the Junction at Monroe doing a brunch piano show on Sunday, November 21st from 10:45 a.m. to 12:45 p.m. The rest of the shows are all in the p.m. dinner time, etc. Then my new Som'n Fierce band, the one that we debuted with the exclusive tune on this episode, are playing two upcoming shows. One on November 27th at the Junction at Monroe in Tallahassee, about 8:30 p.m. And then one on New Year's Eve at the Over Under, December 31st. Both of those are going to be awesome. We're going to be doing a bunch of stuff from the new album, as well as a bunch of P-Funk tunes. So I hope you guys can come out and check those shows out. But without further ado, we are done for this episode. I want to thank Ricky Tan for coming in. I want to thank, as always, Mr. Carl Cerny. And most of all, I want to thank you guys for tuning in, because without you, we probably wouldn't be doing this at all. So thank you again. My name is Danny Bedrosian, and you have been experiencing Danny on Everything.
You're going 20 like a bird in the sky.